What cringy thing you did in the past still keeps you up at night? Story 1. When I was 12 or 13, I was homeschooled. My only real social interaction was at church, so I would get bored during the week and take the city bus down to the main transfer station around the time school was getting out, only to then take the bus back home with all the kids, pretending to be one of them. A lot of people took the city bus instead of the school bus, depending on where they lived. I would wear my backpack and everything to try to blend in, probably with just random stuff in it. Anyway, at this particular time, I was positive that the coolest possible clothing combination I had come up with was a pair of brown corduroy pants, Airwalk skate shoes, this is about 1997, and a multicolored tie-dye t-shirt. I was positive that this outfit made me the shoot and gave me the confidence to talk to anyone. I think I wore it pretty much every day. There was one particular girl that I had been checking out for several weeks, and one day decided to work up the nerve to talk to her. Nearing her stop, I walked back a couple rows and sat one seat in front of her. "Hey, are you in my English class?" I led with. "I don't know. Who's your teacher?" Uh-oh, I hadn't planned for this appropriately. "Quick, think of something." I just transferred. Can't even remember his name. Mr. Robertson? I don't know who that is, but I'm not in that class. Okay. I think I've seen you around. Okay. Gives me the cool story bro look before that was a saying. It was her stop, so she got off. Now this is where it goes from fairly cringy to cringe factor 1 million. As she gets off the bus, I turn to a random kid I don't know who had been sitting in the row behind her, give him a knowing look and a thumbs up, and say, "Mission accomplished." He just stares at me. I get back up, go back to the front of the bus, silently patting myself on the back for my cool, smooth interaction. I'm not even exaggerating that this has kept me awake occasionally for almost 2 full decades. Story 2. In 6th grade, I started playing Guitar Hero 3. That was my intro into any music differing from hip-hop. So I basically threw the entire track list onto my iPod and would walk around campus air guitaring. Or more like air guitar heroing, I guess. Anyway, one day in class, my teacher asked the class if any of us played an instrument, and the conversation went like this. "Noob 21, don't you play guitar?" No, I actually play Guitar Hero. Basically the same thing. I do actually play guitar now, and this thought makes me cringe so much. I was a high school teacher, and I agreed to host the newly formed video game club. They would bring a console every week and play some game on the LCD projection system. One time, this kid is killing it on some really hard mode Guitar Hero song, and everyone is cheering him on, and it's actually somehow almost as amazing as it is lame. He gets done, and without giving it much thought, I ask him how much he plays. He responds 3 to 4 hours a day. And with even less thinking, I say, "You know, if you spent that much time practicing on a real guitar, you could actually get chicks." A few years later, I had honestly forgotten about this, but he comes by to thank me for the suggestion because he now plays guitar and has no trouble getting dates. I said, glad to help, but it wasn't intentional. I'm just a butthole. Apparently, Post Malone got into music because of Guitar Hero as well. When he had mastered expert mode, he asked his mom to buy him a real guitar for Xmas, so he could start making real music of his own. Pretty cool. Story 3. During one of my classes, my phone rang and the teacher looked at me with anger. I pulled it out and, instead of just canceling the call and apologizing, I checked who it was, my dad, and I said that he never calls like that, so it must be something important. The teacher said she didn't care. At this moment, the whole class was looking at me, so I had to continue. I kept insisting that it was important, although I knew it wasn't, and proceeded to leave the classroom. The teacher said I wasn't allowed to leave, so I just stopped my weird jog towards the door and realized how badly I messed up, apologized, and sat down. The worst were the looks of my classmates. My dad wanted to know whether I wanted pizza for dinner. Oh, and there's also this one time where I was in elementary school, sitting in the cafeteria with my friend. Out of nowhere, I said, "I love you," and a second later I realized what I just said, so I awkwardly continued, that's what, name of character from a kid's show, said in the last episode. He didn't say anything, and it was a girl's show while I was a little boy. In my defense, she did say that in the show. Story 4. I was really sick one day in high school, and my mother thought I was faking it and still made me go. I sneezed so hard, I pooped myself. It was everywhere. I called her to ask if she could pick me up from school, or at least bring me a change of clothes. She still thought I was lying. Luckily, my gym teacher found me a pair of pants, but I had to deal with my shame for the rest of the school year. I got made fun of a lot for that. I would have not talked to my mother for weeks. My mom also had a habit of not believing I was sick or injured. The time I was sick, she didn't believe I'd thrown up, so she made me get in her car to go out to dinner. Right as we almost got there, I threw up all down the side of her car. That time she didn't believe I was injured. She made me walk around at school all day, saying she would take me to the doctor if it still hurt after school. It still hurt, and my foot ended up being fractured. Story 5. Joined a local gym. On my first day there, I saw some guy that used to be in my class at school by a weight bench. I remembered one of my friends telling me that the guy had become an underwear or sports model since school and was mega ripped. I was curious, so in between my sets, I got my phone out and quickly got him up on Facebook to have a look. No homo. And obviously, as I'm looking at a photo of him topless and covered in oil that's on his Facebook, thinking, hey, he is pretty ripped. Good for him. Someone taps me on the shoulder. I had my earphones in, so didn't notice anybody nearby. It was him, coming to ask if I was almost done with a squat rack, and I'm 99% certain to this day that he saw my phone screen. Story 6. Last year on New Year's Eve, I was at a big bar in New York with friends, and I got kinda drunk and went outside for a cigarette at one point. I must have actually been outside for the countdown because when I came back in, I looked at my phone and it was like 12:02, and I asked my friend why there wasn't a countdown done by the DJ. I couldn't really hear what he said, so I went up to the DJ and asked to use the mic, and I did a second countdown in front of the entire bar, with hundreds of people, starting at 30, and no one joined in. I love the starting at 30, awkward enough as it is. Story 7. When I was in the first year of high school, I was in a show where we were divided into groups. In my group, there was a girl who had recently become a mother. I remember that right before one of the shows, she was standing with her friends and being very negative about the show, and said she wished she didn't have to do it. For some inane, insane, idiotic reason, I thought it would be hilarious to say, do the show or I'll end the life of your baby. She never spoke to me again, and I will never forget the way she and her friends looked at me. I cringe so hard every time I think about this. Story 8. I ran just like Naruto throughout high school, from switching class to class, during lunchtime, catching the bus, etc. I always thought I was cool. Sigh. There's always that one kid who runs around high school like a creature. I still remember the girl who did that at mine, and I graduated more than 10 years ago. Did she run across the graduation stage with her arms back too? Unfortunately, she did not, but the running got more horse-like with every year of high school until she was full-on galloping from class to class, doing that horsey head movement with her hair, or mane, blowing in the wind behind her. Story 9. My coworker and I were taking the stairs to get to my office to be healthy. He mentioned my skirt was on crooked, so I readjusted it as we stepped out, and a bunch of the bosses were there, staring at two people coming out of the emergency staircase, all flushed and sweaty, and one of them readjusting her skirt. The raised eyebrows were bad enough. The smirk from this really pervy boss was the worst. Was that boss by chance Robert California? There is no such thing as a product. There's only intimacy. Everything is intimacy. You know what I'm saying is a universal truth, Toby. Story 10. In middle school, we had this mean cooking teacher that everyone hated. Until our last year of being there, she seemed to lighten up a lot. On our last day of school, everyone was hugging her and saying goodbye in the front part of the school, and I decided, why the hell not? She's pretty cool. So as she was walking up the walkway towards me, and I put out my arms to hug her, well, she walked right past me, and I hear laughter from behind me. And it's my crush and her friends dying of laughter. Still kills me to this day. Story 11. My fanfiction.net account. Back when Warrior Cats and PJO was still popular among teens, I used to frequent a role-playing forum. My characters were the cringy stuff, and looking back, I question why I roleplayed talking cats and demigods. Due to me having over 10,000 posts on those places, I can't exactly go back to delete them. and mods deleting them would lower the total post count number, which I think might have reached 600 to 700k in the time I've been gone. I still talk to friends from the forum though. Story 12. Holy crap, man, if you ask me, you saved the situation 110%. From now on, whenever I do something incredibly humiliating in public, I'm going to just give a bystander a knowing look and a thumbs up and say, mission accomplished. I don't think you fully appreciate the genius solution you have given the world. That dude went from, this guy sucks with the ladies, to, oh crap, what the frick did I miss, in 2 seconds. Story 13. When I was 12, I was attending a friend's party. I had been telling some jokes and had a small group laughing along. Being young and inattentive and foolish, I started telling some amputee jokes. They were popular at the time, being completely unaware of the fact that the young lady sitting directly to my left on the couch was missing her left arm from the elbow down. Story 14. My crush came to my house to do a high school project. It involved the internet, and while she sat next to me, she tried to navigate to Google on my computer. Unfortunately, the address bar autofilled and took her to my last Google search, page 2 of results for her name. Every link had been clicked. We both just sat in silence. Story 15. After a girl forgave me for, I don't even remember what, I said, "Where's my hug?" Oh God, the flashbacks. That's not bad. Asking a girl for her number at your first college mixer, being rejected, and then saying, well, can I at least have a hug, is bad. Real bad. Keeps you up at night 10 years later bad. Story 16. I openly considered myself as a juggalo and had the Coolio hairstyle to match. I am a very pale ginger. Cold sweats and stifled vomit come with these memories. I know quite a few juggalos, and while most of them are actually cool guys, I will never understand their undying loyalty to Insane Clown Posse and Psychopathic Records. Story 17. When I was in middle school, 6th grade, these older kids were making fun of me, so I turned and yelled at them, "I can't hear you, I have a potato in my ear," like I was the smartest freaking person on earth. They proceeded to continue making fun of me and my potato ear. Story 18. I was invited to the birthday party of someone I had only met a couple times, but we had a lot of mutual friends. I was sat in the lounge having a drink, and the birthday guy came in, leaned over me with his arms outstretched, so I hugged him. He was reaching for something behind me. Story 19. I was crawling across the floor of a store to go play with a girl on the other side of the store, crawling because my mom said I couldn't go play, so I was very sneakily sneaking away. An old woman didn't see me and tripped over me in the middle of the store. Story 20. When I was 17, I was texting my boyfriend and remember saying, "I can't wait for you to come over this weekend so we can get intimate and eat crabs." I sent it to my stepdad. As a father of 2-month-old girl, I'm not ready for this stuff. Story 21. My first source of corn was Newgrounds with its hentai ads. It led me to this hentai comic called Bondage Fairies. I printed it out at school without knowing it was 200 pages long and how to cancel a print. Oh man, the cringe destroys me even today. Story 22. I get a girl's number. I've known her for like a day or two. I walk 2 blocks and I send the longest love confession text message of my life. Well, at least now we know not to do that again. Story 23. I went to a Blue Jays game, I'm from the States, when I was like 7. I thought the US hated Canada and started loudly booing the national anthem. My mom was not happy. But you're a quarter Canadian, Barney. Story 24. There was a brief time in middle school in which I would speak in the manner of Tony Scarface Montana. "Shut the fruit up, you pile of cockroaches." So embarrassing. "Say hello to my 0 friends." Story 25. When my lip would get stuck in my braces brackets after smiling. Oh, and my mom made me wear my headgear to Harry Potter 3. She said, "It will be dark, no one will notice." Sticking with the Harry Potter theme on this one, OP could have just wrapped their head in a purple turban to conceal the headgear. Similar to Professor Quirrell, it worked for him, hiding that weirdo baby Voldemort face on the back of his head. Just claim religious impunity if the movie theater security gives you any trouble. Troll in the dungeon! Thought you ought to know. Story 26. Sent like 5 love confessions to a girl in high school over MySpace, then chickened out and deleted them. Turns out deleting stuff from the sent box doesn't unsend the message. Oh God. Story 27. I used to wear a fedora, unironically. Wait, you don't anymore? Now he wears it ironically. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.